Hi guys, thanks for visiting my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I'm Carol, the Thrifty Chic Housewife, and I love sharing all of my Thrifty Chic Housewife ways on YouTube. So I know I've gotten a lot of new subscribers lately, and I just want to say I appreciate all of you. I love all of your comments and your questions, and you guys are just awesome. So keep the comments and questions coming. But anyway, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. So today I have another fun food Friday night for you, and if you've watched very many of my videos, you know I have an obsession with Mexican food, so yes, we're doing Mexican. Tonight we're going to be making chorizo bean dip. This is so good. It was inspired by a restaurant that we frequent when we go visit our kids. Our kids go to Kent State University here in Ohio, and they have a little restaurant there called Rico's that has fabulous food. So if you are in the neighborhood, give them a try. Their food is really good, but they have this dip, and my daughter and I fell in love with it. So I dissected it and tried to come up with something similar, and I think I've cracked the code. So the star of our show tonight is obviously going to be chorizo, and this is the one that I use. It comes with 2 tubes of chorizo, and I only use 1 of the tubes. So you're going to need 6 to 8 ounces of chorizo, and then the other star, of course, is going to be black beans because it's chorizo black bean dip. And I just use canned black beans, rinse and drain them. And then the other star of tonight's show is Chihuahua cheese. It's just a nice melty, they call it queso Chihuahua shredded quesadilla cheese. It's just a nice melty Mexican cheese, and it makes delicious dip. So I think what I'm going to do, so you guys can see a little bit better, is bring you in close so you can see what's going on in my pan. I did start by browning one of the tubes of my chorizo, and I've drained it. So I have everything ready to go, and that's kind of what you want to do before you get started. So here we go. Okay guys, here we go. We're going to start by making a little bit of a roux as the base of our cheese dip. So we're going to need about 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to put that down in our pan and let that melt. You want about a medium heat. When you're making a cheese dip, you don't want too high of a heat. You don't want to scorch your cheese. You just want to melt it. And we're using a lot of dairy, of course. We're using butter, and we're using some milk. So you just want a nice medium heat. And once your butter melts, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. And I'm going to switch over to a whisk, and we're going to whisk our flour into our butter to make a little bit of a roux. And we're just going to let that cook for about a minute. We want to get rid of the raw flour taste. So 30 seconds to a minute, and you want to keep whisking it so that it doesn't burn, of course. And you can see it's bubbling up a little bit, cooking just a little bit, not cooking hard, but just enough. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of milk. Now you can add whatever kind of milk you have on hand or whatever you like. Obviously, the higher the fat content, the creamier your cheese dip will be. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in all of your milk, and then we're going to whisk, whisk, whisk. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring that up to a simmer, and then the flour and the butter will start to thicken your milk, and that's going to be the base of our cheese sauce. It's called a bechamel sauce, for those of you who don't know. But it's the base of any type of a cheese sauce, is your butter, your flour, and milk of some sort, or cream. So let that come up to a nice simmer, gentle simmer, whisking occasionally. Like I said, you don't want anything to burn or it will taste bad. So just kind of let that hang out, everything warm up, and bring it up to a bubble. And when it starts to thicken, I'll bring you back and we'll add all of our other goodies to our dip. Okay guys, it's been about 5 minutes and our sauce is starting to simmer here, and you just want to let it simmer on low for a minute or so that we get to the full thickness that it's going to be. All right, so once your sauce has started to thicken, then we are going to start adding our cheese. And I'm going to use this whole, this is 7 ounces. It's 1 3/4 cup of the Chihuahua cheese. So I'm going to go ahead and put that all in. And then I'm going to switch to a spoon and just stir it. Now, at this point, it's really important that you keep an eye on your temperature, and I highly recommend that you just keep it on low because burnt cheese is not good. You want it to be smooth and creamy. So you just want to kind of let your cheese melt into your base. And then once that starts to melt, then I like to add about another cup or so of cheddar cheese. And you can make this to your taste. If you would rather use other cheeses, by all means. But I was trying to replicate what we had at Brico's, so this seemed to be pretty close to the flavor profile that their dip was. And once your cheese is all melted, that's going to give you a feel for how thick your sauce is going to be. And if it's too thick, you can always add more milk. It can vary from time to time, so I always start with the 2 cups of milk, and sometimes I'll add more. But you can see all the cheese is melting nicely into our base. And then now I'm going to add in my chorizo sausage. Once the cheese is melted, go ahead and add your sausage. And you can add as many beans as you like. I think I'm going to start out with a 1/2 can and give that a stir and see where we are. You could always add the whole can. It just depends on how many beans you want in your cheese sauce. And you could add more chorizo if you wanted more meat in it. It's all up to you. But you can see how quick this comes together. It doesn't take any time at all. And it's a little bit on the thick side, so I'm going to add about another 1/4 cup of milk. And you just keep it on low and just keep stirring until it's all incorporated again. Once it's all come together, then we're going to add some spices. I'm going to add about a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, about a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, about a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, and then just a dash of Chipotle chili powder. I don't want to add too much more heat. Chorizo sausage can be kind of spicy, so I'm just going to start by adding a little bit, and then I'm going to taste it, and if I need more, I can always add more. Start on the lower end. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. Once it's spicy, it's spicy. And just stir that in, and that's really all there is to it. So I'm going to give it a taste. You can use just a tad more Chipotle powder. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of salt. That's going to be up to tasting also. Sometimes cheese is more salty than other times. So you'll just have to, once you make your dip, taste it and decide for yourself. But isn't that pretty? Beautiful color, got beans and your chorizo in there, and lovely cheese. And what's better than a cheese dip, right? Really good. Okay, that's perfect. I'm going to plate it up and I'll bring you back. Okay guys, we're all done. How easy was that? Perfect for fun food Friday night. It's delicious and super easy to make. I love to serve it with these sea salt and lime tortilla chips. The lime flavor goes so well with all of the flavors that we have going on in our dip, and I just try to put it in a pretty dish with a lid to keep it hot when people are not dipping into it. But it's great for parties, or just like I said, we eat it for fun food Friday night. And it's super simple. It's delicious. You can also use it if you want some other delicious ways to use it. Another thing you can do is it works great on top of burritos. If you do a grilled burrito and pour that over top, delicious. You could pour it over nachos and have your nachos that way. A million different ways to use it. If you want to change it up some, you could make it a baked cheese dip. You could sprinkle some more cheese on top and put it under the broiler and let that cheese get all nice and melty and a little bit brown on top. And then you could serve it as a baked cheese dip. Lots of different ways you could change it up, and but it's really great. Super simple. I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks for coming along with me today. If you have any comments or questions, leave them for me in the comment section. I will leave the recipe for you in the description section underneath the video. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the fun we're having here. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks so much for watching.